So welcome to our moving community session. We have been swimming and it's been a beautiful day, so everyone was really looking forward to getting in the water. And then we came inside and we had the most beautiful meditation session where it was just so peaceful and everyone was really grounded. It was wonderful. So we're here today to talk about how movement is for every space, body. So every single body deserves movement. And Moving Community looks at issues facing the industry now, in the future, from physical and mental health, diversity, equality and sustainability. So let's introduce the panel. I thought everyone can introduce themselves a little bit. So Tanya is a
community yoga teacher rather than a studio yoga teacher, which is why I'm absolutely thrilled to be involved with this, because studio yoga teachers often just teach one type of body, generally quite a wealthy, white, Lululemon wearing. So I'm a community yoga teacher, so I teach in the prison, I teach in hospitals, I teach in the Maudsley, which is for girls and boys who have eating issues and for addictions, so I do yoga therapy. It's very, very different from what you would probably see in a yoga studio. I am passionate about yoga because I think it saved me. I used to have some really quite complicated body issues, hated everything about my body, my skin colour, my everything, and it is my hand holder. So yeah, this is amazing to be part of this. Thank you so much. And what else? That's it.
Yeah, good to be here. Tanya's the best yoga teacher I've ever had, and I met Tanya on a yoga retreat when I was in a really weird place. It was about 5 years ago.
Yeah,
I was thinking about it, and it was New Year, and I didn't have anything else to do, so I just put this random trip to Norfolk, and then I just had the most wonderful, transformative New Year. And so whenever anyone's like, "Do you know a good yoga teacher?" Tanya. And this is Justin.
Hello.
Justin, you're Brave Scar?
Yeah, Brave Scar.
Yeah. And I love this. You're a 3rd degree Burns Thriver.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right, lovely. Yeah, so obviously Justin, and I go by the name Brave Scar, which is a name I kind of made up for myself and my journey. When I was 1 year old, I actually suffered a domestic accident at home, so it was a pre-accident. I was a very curious child growing up, and the household I grew up in wasn't always the best at times. There's some domestic violence going on, and my mum used to always wipe down the surface of the worktops, and I was just very curious. I used to turn over buckets and reach up to stuff, and I actually reached up to pull the tub of hot water down myself. So I've got burns on here, chest, side, back. And my amazing sister at the time, my amazing sister at the time, she's still amazing.
She's still amazing.
Found me and kind of helped me through that time. And I was meant to die, but I survived. And just growing up, I'm 28 now, 29 this month. Went on this journey of finding myself and my body and just understanding bit by bit as you grow up that I'm black. I'm part of the queer community as well. I'm a man, and what do these things mean? And around 21 years old, I started really going into my body and loving myself and going on this journey, and it's still going on. And that led me to become Brave Scar and do amazing things like sit here. And just recently, I was on a Channel 4 small show called SAS Who Dares Wins.
You were.
Yes, I was. And the second time I've done open water was today. So the first time was in the Jordan Sea. And I think this one was a bit more scarier. But yeah, so I just love doing stuff like this and helping people. Ambassador for many charities. Just love meeting people, seeing bodies, talking about bodies, and showing my scars. Yeah, so yes, that's me. Yeah.
Thanks.
And I'm a PT as well. Yeah, personal trainer.
Super, thank you so much. And this is Nicole Rose. You're a body image and embodiment coach, so tell us about that, as well as a yoga teacher as well. So tell us more about you.
Yeah, so I guess the path I've chosen was inspired by my own struggles, my own life. and having grown up with a lot of emotional abuse, brought up by a narcissistic parent, and having grown up with very little self-worth, I was, perfectionist, a people pleaser, just completely dissociated from my own body. I initially found yoga, and it was my own journey that inspired me to do this work. And so, yes, I call myself a body image and embodiment coach. So I help women, men, all genders, connect deeply with themselves and heal their body image issues and their mental health struggles generally by connecting deeply to themselves, reconnecting to the body. And so the different modalities that I use are talking therapy, and as well as obviously the yoga, the breath, and the meditation, which are so important because we can't really heal from the neck up. It really has to be a full bodily experience. I like to call it like a dance of the mind and the body. So that's me. I'm also a mother of two little girls. That's it.
Lovely, thank you. Okay, so now you know a little bit about us. I thought I'd start by sort of asking some questions to our panel, and then we'll throw it out to you guys. So if you've got a question, hold on to it until a little bit later, and then by all means, please ask away. So we're going to be looking at how we can sort of change these perceptions of body image and what a fit body is without kind of discouraging healthy living and fitness practice. So that's kind of what a sort of theme of the evening is. And I wanted to start with a poem. This is a really lovely book. It's called Stripped, and it's got lots of little sort of lovely poems and things in it that just kind of bring you to a place. And it's called She Chose, but obviously you can, however you identify, think about it in your own way. She realised she had this big, bold and beautiful life, and she realised she didn't want to live it chasing and crying and apologising, starving and fearing and regretting. She realised she wanted to live it proudly and freely and creatively, lovingly and fully and sweetly. She realised she could choose, and so she chose. So I thought I'd start there.
That's beautiful.
So I've got my first big question is it actually getting better? Do we think, there's all these body positivity people out in the world, and the culture's changing. There was a plus-size Nike mannequin, wasn't there, in Oxford Street. You see different kinds of people on the front cover of magazines. In your opinion, is it changing? Do you want to start with us, Justin?
Yeah.
Do you think it's getting better?
I think it is. I think it is gradually and slowly. I would say a big word a main thing to look at is access. Who has access to the main platforms? Who has access to places like Nike? So the places which we are dominant to what we see, TV, media, billboards. How are the people who actually need to be heard and actually have the correct message and it comes from a pure place? How are we getting access to speak about these things? Social media is amazing and it's definitely a portal and a door, and it's helped me so much, but then again it is full of noise at the same time. Everyone can have access to it, so it's kind of like as you kind of go up the ranks as well, are the right voices getting through? So as I said again, you mentioned so many massive staples, like I'm actually a Nike Pro trainer, so always seeing how Nike is such a massive brand is trying to be inclusive, which is amazing. But I think it's time for, I think they looking more grassroots and seeing how access is given, how access is granted, how we're leveraging access, how we can use each other to actually leverage access. I'm not going too deep, but one of the answers I gave is saying getting rid of tokenism as well, showing fit bodies in. So it's not tokenism for a certain month. Like an athlete is everybody. So when is it going to become normal to see just someone on the front cover not talking about their ableism or tokenism. That's the thing, and it's not becoming a thing. It's just it's normal.
Yeah.
And
it's just a person.
Exactly,
it's
that's a person.
Yeah.
And their ability is not brought into question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I want to kick off with.
Yeah, I think we're moving in the right direction, but I think there's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
Our society is still fully embedded in diet culture.
Oh, yeah.
And just seeing, and I think because I curate my feed, and I, with the work that I do, so, but with the people that I work with, it's constantly you're seeing how to get a fit body, how to get a summer body, especially at this time of the year. And it's just, we're being smothered daily with these messages. And the more I get deep into this work, and the more I see my clients as they start to do this work, you start to notice it. It's literally on a daily basis, you're being sent these messages, and you're having to challenge them every time you see them. And it makes me angry, to be frank, and I think it's something that it's important to be angry about, because it is an issue of social justice, and you mentioned, it's a fit body. There is no look for a fit body, and I think there's still a long way to go, but we are moving in the right direction, I would say.
And how do you feel about your body, Tanya, today?
Today?
Yeah. When you think of your body?
Most days I'm really proud of what it's done for me. I've got two gorgeous kids. I can do whatever I like physically. Like I can swim, I can run, I can cycle. I'm very, very active. I'm really good. I like my skin now. It's taken years. But there's still those days, those pre-menstrual days when you just can't bear all those breastfed boobs. You're like, seriously, But you just, it's a work in progress, isn't it? It's always, and just those affirmations and all of those kind of things. I think that, I just think that the cult, it's so innate. It's so in our cells to question, and then you have to, it's like this game you're playing with yourself all the time. Don't be ridiculous. This argument in your brain, don't be ridiculous, But it still goes on, doesn't it?
Yeah. I had a podcast with Claudia Winkleman once.
Oh, yeah.
And she grew up in a house with no mirrors. Because her mum wanted to teach her that what she looked like was the least important thing. It was the most uninteresting thing about her life.
Amazing.
And that, that's what she's kind of ingrained in herself. Like, it doesn't matter what I look like, I'm more than that.
And did that work?
Yeah, and she said she still doesn't really have mirrors today. And I think it's always really stayed with me. And if I'm ever having what am I going to wear tonight? Or, oh my God, I'm like, actually, that's the
least interesting.
No one cares about that. It's what I've got to say, or the kind of person I am, or and when I meet people, I think, are they kind? Are they funny? Are they interesting? So I think it's good to start looking at people in more than what you see on the outside.
Yeah, that's really nice.
And you all work with different people in different ways. And do you see kind of common issues and triggers in people? Where does this stem from? I mean, it's not all the media's fault.
I just think I always call myself like a bit of an anti-PT, and I can't believe I'm saying on camera. No clients. And quite frankly, I don't really have. I'm very out there. I qualified in 2019 as a personal trainer, and the reason I went into the industry is to challenge images. When you think of athletes, when you think of when you look at my colour, when you think of like the communities I belong to, there's always like a very rigid set when you look at the fitness industry of how a fit body or person meant to be. And the reason why I say anti-PT, because when I come across clients or people who want to train with me or lose weight, it's all about, I always say it's how you feel, and I'm here to make you feel better, and not to look better. And if you want to look better, that's going to be secondary to the primary result, because I'm not here for a 6 weeks and to go on holiday quick fix. That's great, and I understand it, and I'm a human. I'm not this kind of person who's like, no, I get it, I'm human as well, but it's I'm telling you how you're meant to feel. And that's
it's a byproduct almost.
Exactly.
feeling great.
Yeah.
You look great.
Exactly. Because
It's all a byproduct, isn't it? It's a very interesting. It's a whole holistic.
exactly.
Yeah.
And who are you looking good for? I'm trying to say who, and that's the next question to ask yourself, I guess. Mostly, is it self? Is it outside validation? So, not straying too far away from the question. Very much. Asking people, it's just getting down to that kind of why even further. And if it does stop at, I want to look good to attract someone back. Okay, why? You know what I mean? Scratching a bit deeper, because when it comes to fitness and the industry, it's the small changes that you need to make. It's a small adaptation to your life that you need to make to feel better in the long run. Because a lot of those times, I think I find working out and stuff is very rapid. And so that's how I kind of feel.
Yeah. And how do you, when you're doing your work, Nicole, make people kind of feel safe and welcome? Because sometimes certain spaces don't feel like they're for everyone. You know,
Quite intimidating.
Yeah. You know, and it takes quite a lot of confidence to, I don't know, put on a sports bra or a pair of joggers.
Even go in the room.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. What's kind of...
Yeah, I was going to say that. He's getting the water.
Get the water, yeah. Put the swimsuit on, right?
So, I wanted to maybe address something right before that question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Because just from what Justin was saying, the why, you know, when you were saying what does it stem from? And it is the why. It's the why. Why do you want to shrink your body? Why do you want to look better? And, you know, you mentioned validation, and it does, and for me, like so much of this work, it stems from, for me, it's a worthiness issue. I always say body image issues are a worthiness issue. We want to feel worthy, we want to feel loved. You know, perhaps when we're growing up, our emotional needs were not met. And so we seek that elsewhere, and that's where the media started to play into it. You know, we were looking for that love, we were looking for that approval. And so we learnt, because diet culture tells us that that's the way it is, that if you look good, if you are thin and you have this body, then you will be loved.
When I'm thin, I will.
Yes.
When I'm,
yes.
yeah.
And I actually call that the worth equation. Like when I'm this way, I will be worthy of this. So it always stems from something deeper. And so when we get to the root of it, which is what I do with my clients, is when you get to the root of it, all the other stuff unravels. You know, of course, there's the addition to that is to challenge on a daily basis what, you know, diet culture is teaching you, and really learning the truths behind it, because so much of it are lies. You know, talking about weight loss, and so many people are shocked when I tell them that 95% of people who intentionally try to lose weight put on the weight back or more. So telling someone, even, you know, in the healthcare world, to lose weight is actually more damaging to their mental health, their physical health. You add on all of those, you know, all those harmful effects of the yo-yo dieting and all of that.
But it's $1 billion, you know, billion.
They profit off of the idea that,
But it's a difficult balance, isn't it? Because, you know, if you think, do you know what, I'm not feeling my best self, I'm not feeling very healthy, you know, I'm not as fit or as comfortable doing that walk or whatever your activity is, it's almost like diet's now a dirty word, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how do we do that balance in this industry of come and have a personal training session, or, you know, come to my yoga class, without kind of, you know, saying you have to do those things to be comfortable.
I don't think you can ever say you have to do those things. I think you just start somehow, and then you make better choices for yourself, and it's little, doesn't it? So you might, I don't know, start doing a bit of yoga, and then you go, actually, I'm not going to drink wine tonight, I'm going to have loads of water, and I feel like that. It's not like you're going to do yoga and then you're going to do this. If you put rules in place, I mean, if most people are like, you put rules, I will rebel.
Yeah.
And it's just that knock-on effect of, I feel better, I now want to look after myself more. Oh, I think I'm going to sleep better. And then it's just this cumulative, wonderful, and then suddenly, 6 months down the line, you sleep better, you eat better, you're nourishing yourself on every level, so it's mentally, physically, and that's not just the yoga, whether you're doing exercise, cold water swimming, whatever, but the choices then are coming from a really good, authentic place, rather than a decision being told to you from somebody else.
Yeah.
And then you're winning. You're moving in the direction of joy, of enriched experiences, and it's for the benefit not just of yourself but for all beings, isn't it? And that's what.
And nothing's ever, jumping on that, nothing's ever lost. Nothing's ever lost. I think similar to the Butterfly Effect poem you mentioned as well. She chose everything is memory. Everything's a knock-on effect that you've done this in order to go here. Because a lot of times you often hear is, I was fit 6 months ago or 2 years ago.
And then you berate yourself.
Do you know what I mean?
I've messed it up
and I
now.
dropped
I've put
off.
on that stone.
Exactly.
It's all good. It's just you're just flowing through, and then obstacles come, and you might be grieving or heartbroken, and then you move. It's just that journey.
I always say life's like a roller coaster. You're gonna be, you know what I mean? You're gonna be up and down, and it's knowing that you're on it. It's knowing that I'm here now, but I've been here before, and I'm gonna come up here now.
Yeah.
It could be slow. It's not like, sometimes it could be stealth.
Yeah.
Something could happen that can make you instantly feel happy, bring you back, childhood, bring you back to that kind of childhood memory, or it could be a slow one. Do you know what I mean? But realizing that I'm on it and I'm down here right now. I'm a crap day. I'm a crap day today, but I'm gonna be. I know who can put around me, what I need to be around, and who I need to be around, and what I need to do to bring me back. Yeah.
And I just wanted to add to that, you know, what Tanya was saying about, you know, it flows, and something that you said previously about when you come from feeling, and I think this is all these like rules, and it comes from what we think we should do, and it comes from a place that's dissociated from our own body. It comes from what we think we should do and all this stuff. So this is why for me it's all about, like, when you reconnect to the body, you connect to what your needs are, and then that comes with ease. Oh, I need this because of this, how this feels, right? Like it comes back to feeling, and we're able to meet our own needs with ease, and like you say, and then that moves more towards if you value health, more towards a healthy healthy lifestyle. I don't like that word,
coming
but
from a place of intuition rather than
yeah.
So there's that thing, isn't there? You know, like halt. When am I hungry? Am I angry, lonely, or tired? And all of those feelings apparently are almost identical. I just find that amazing. And unless you can really go, what am I? What do I feel? Then you're going to give yourself perhaps something that you don't really need. It's really fascinating, isn't it? Yeah, it's like amazing.
Could I just add to that? 'Cause from what you were saying about health, you know, it's kind of redefining what health is, you know, and for me, when my mental health, when I feel strong mentally, all of the rest falls in place, right? When you're, again, like when you're fully connected, and it goes back to like weight, you know, health is not weight, right? Is not equal to weight. And this is where we look at health behaviors, and again, health behaviors go back to how it feels, right? So going back to things like sleep or a healthy relationship with food, which, you know, we can go on for ages about what that is. You know, movement, but kind movement to yourself, not a movement that, you know, when you say like anti-PT, like what I heard from that was like the punishing, like, you know, like a kind movement that feels good for your body. So redefining what health is, and for me it's moving towards health behaviors rather than weight, because it does not equal to weight.
And what can we do, like as a community, sort of people who like to look after themselves? You know, we've talked about representation and making sure we can see ourselves in the people that we kind of seek help in. But I'm also thinking, like, you know, you work with young people, some of you are mothers. So, you know, I think looking at kind of what the generation have access to, like some of the representation perhaps in, I don't know, have you seen Sex Education on Netflix? Yes. If I'd seen something like that when I was growing up, like all the different kind of personalities and characters and sizes and shapes and sexual orientation is amazing, right? Amazing. So I think, there's hope yet, but then I see the poison sort of Instagram and things like that. You know, is it difficult raising young men in this crazy world?
So difficult, because it's so contradictory. So it's like, yeah, you can be anything, do anything, but then people are really judgmental. Like one of my sons says, I don't really care what you're into, just do what you want to do, but stop banging on about it. Like, are you doing it for attention? Like, there's people at school who go, I don't want to be a boy, I don't want to be a girl, I'm going to be known as a lettuce, or I want to be known as a such and such. And he's like, do what you want to do, but just do it. Don't.
Yeah.
It's like you're saying about, am I able-bodied? Am I not able-bodied? Just everything's just be. I
It's
think
a bit
it's still in a
performative,
very,
isn't it?
very weird, it's really...
Sort of a transitioning
And then
phase.
there's this sort of cancel culture that if you actually say what you really think, then you're at risk of being really, really isolated from making it's a very weird time. And I think they feel sometimes that they just cut their tongue off. They're like, you don't know what you're allowed to do, what you're allowed to say. It's tricky, it is tricky. But also very exciting because, you know, our house is like an open house, it's like a youth club. You should see the vibrancy and the kind of anything goes. In South London, you know, it's amazing. There is no judgment. They don't really see it. They don't really see, but my parents, if they're visiting, are like, this is magic. So it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah, it's sort of a slow
Yeah, I mean, it's
burn.
definitely positive.
Yeah. And I'm conscious of time, and I definitely want to open it up to the room, but just before we do, you know, if any of you have a client or, you know, come to you and they're just wrecked with self-hate or whatever, what's your sort of one go-to simple advice? Do you want to start us off?
I'm like,
I've really put you on, I know, I've really put you on the spot. Or like, how do you love your body? You know,
I just
we all
go
wake
for a
up.
massive full body hug first. Yeah, just...
Because sometimes we all wake up and
connect.
feel like crap,
Of course.
right? So what is that? What's going to get us up tomorrow morning?
What I would say is be kind to yourself. And then I think there was one thing that I would get them to do if I had like just 1 minute with someone. This is so difficult because I'm like, I would teach them how to breathe.
Good one. Yeah.
Right? Like when you start to breathe, you start to feel, and the way I like, you know, with someone who has hated their body for so long, and they've essentially, like I said earlier, like dissociated themselves, they've become numb to feeling their body even. Starting to breathe, you know, can be a little bit challenging. Like, you know, when you say, you know, if a teacher says, pay attention to your breath, they're like, what's going on? So I get them to, and this is like even like giving yourself a hug, like goes back to the be kind to yourself. And then feeling, because we want to take rib expanding breaths, feeling feeling your ribs expand into your hands as you inhale and feeling them contract back into the body. And doing that, starting to connect back in and feel yourself again.
Yeah, so often we're trying to escape ourselves, aren't we? We're escaping them, definitely.
That's essentially what we're doing when we're seeking all that approval and that
Seeking it from
validation.
outside.
That
We're
validation.
seeking all of that. So coming back to ourselves through breath. I got there eventually.
No, it's all right. I totally threw you on the spot. And you know, someone's come into the gym and they're like,
Yeah.
right, I want to lose all this weight. Help me.
Like I taught a spin class earlier today, and I get a few cis men sometimes, but mostly it's like women, and it's a lot of repeat women come back, and obviously at the end of the class you do hear stories about, okay, I've this and this and this, and I often just look at them and say, how did it feel? How did they feel? And a lot of them say, oh, horrible. Like me, I said, I don't. But you worked hard, you know what I mean? And each class, I just give, I spud them and I call them my warriors, and we just feed off each other in that space. But if it's not a client, like my free piece of advice, I would say to myself and anyone, I always use that roller coaster example. I think that's my staple now. Just realise that you're on it. I'm having a crap time down here right now, but I'm going to be up there. I've been up there before. I'll call my best friend, I call my sister, I call people around me make me happy. My second one is quite I live by is the sun will set, and we'll try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Crap day, sleep, we go again tomorrow, and it's set to everyone. And my second one is just being that 1% braver each time. Do you know what I mean? Like my whole thing about going to that water. I was like, no, let me grab my things. And many of you may not have seen, I didn't make it that far. I think I was the quickest one in and out. But thank you. I feel so ashamed. But I felt really a bit embarrassed. But I was like, I did it. Do you know what I mean? And I tell everyone, like, you might feel a bit embarrassed being in the gym the first time or trying this for the first time, but you've done it. Well done. Yeah. Well done, 1% brave, and then we come back and we'll do it again. Yeah, remember that. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
And after you've given them the big hug?
After that big hug. I think the breathing and teaching just someone to it's so hard, isn't it? I mean, when you're in that state of complete self-loathing, it's very hard to shift out of it. But I think it can be very lonely, can't it? It can make you feel like you're the only one who's like that. And just kind of, I don't know, building community, making people feel connected, not just that they're not alone. Normalising of those. I mean, it's just everybody has those days. It doesn't matter who you are. And then it's that kind of looking over the fence that everybody else has got a better life, better body, better this. That's bullshit. It's absolute. That comparing mindset is just it's just the worst thing that you can get into. And as soon as you can sort of go, that's not going to make me feel good about myself. What can I put in my tool bag to help me in days like this? And it could just be something super simple, like when I have days when I just really am not having a great day, I know my biggest tools are swim in cold water, it kind of washes something away, do some yoga, sleep, go back to bed, even if it's in the day, and then wake up, it's like another start. You just learn your little tool bags, and it's not going to be the same as yours or yours or yours, but you just get there, don't you? Yeah. What you're going to put in there, and what's going to help. Get in nature, cuddle your dog, whatever it is. Yeah. But it's but just trying to help someone feel that they're not alone.
Can I just jump onto that, because just going back to that question that you asked, I realised I didn't answer around feeling safe. And I think it is, what Tanya was saying about feeling like you're not alone and being in community. And so what I like to think that I do is I create that space for people to be vulnerable. If you're vulnerable and just allowing, when I run, I call them, I run my challenges, is where I bring a lot of people in community, and I spend especially the first session just talking about allowing yourself to be seen. And when you're in a space where people want to do the work, people will open up, and then it'll inspire, then there was someone who was like, we took a video, I did this live video, and you've all inspired me to do this. And I think creating a safe space comes with community and feeling like you're not alone, and having someone to also hold that space to know that it is safe, and to normalize it, because it is. We think that we're alone in our struggles, but everyone else, every single person in this room has something more or less in common. But
Anyone got any questions that they want to ask, or?
I think that generationally, kind of people around my age, there's to an extent the damage has kind of been done, right? Like when we were young, it was all size zero. That was it. That was all there was. So the people who have kids or who don't have kids, do you think I've worked with brownies and brown people?
Oh, brown owl! No way!
It's snowy owl.
Oh, snowy owl!
They are so just up for discussion about anything. They're so open, and they don't seem as prejudiced, or not prejudiced, but kind of, they don't seem as rigid on the ways that I used to think when I was that age. So I wonder, do you think it is kind of something that will change over time? Do you think it needs time? Is that kind of?
Yeah, I agree. I'm from that generation where it was just that was the one shape, and it was everybody, you know, needed to look like Kate Moss, and no one looked like her. And you just, you know, and it's in you, isn't it?
You just can't.
It's a lifetime. It's so hard. But when Sonny and Joe's all their girls come over, they do seem much more relaxed, and they are wearing it just like they are so much more body confident. But then the contradiction is, so like when I go into the Maudsley and you work with the eating disorders and the self-harm and everything's like that. Yeah. So you go, I don't really know. I don't know. Yeah. But I think it is like, you hope that it's moving in the right direction, just like racism and, you know, any sort of, that it takes so long, doesn't it? It takes so long for just it to seep into all layers, because it's so complex, isn't it? It's so complex. So I don't know is the answer. I look at the girls and think, God, I wish I had been like that at your age. Like they've got everything. They've just all body types, and they're all hanging out and loving it.
I think the thing I love is I see a lot more individuality. Like when I was at school, we were all trying to like
God, we all
look
dressed
the same.
Why? Totally. Like a uniform.
Yeah.
We all had the same uniform. It was awful,
yeah, we all like amended our uniform in the same way, which made us all look the same.
That we all look the same, totally. But I think it's confusing, because when you look, it looks like, wow, anything goes. They are smashing it. But then you look at the self-harm and the eating and the anxiety. So I don't know.
So I don't have older children, so I think the stories I hear are from either friends with older children or my clients who have children. It's, I hear of 6-7-year-olds who are already trying to starve themselves and moving towards eating disorders and hate their body, and I hear a lot of like trying to hide food or trying to sneak food and things like that. I think maybe going back to even like the first question you asked around like, is it, you know, where are we going in the right direction? It is, but I think it will take time, because I think it does start with your caretakers and their own internalized fat phobia and their own relationship with food, because that's what you're going to observe and imitate. And I like to think, like, I almost see my 2 daughters as like an experiment of, you know, because that's not how I grew up. I didn't grow up with an abundance around food. It was like, you shouldn't eat this, you should eat this, you know, you should lose weight, you should do this. And I just notice just the way, now my eldest, because my youngest is too little, but my 4-year-old, just her, you know, she has her meal and then just moves on from it, and
it's just food.
It's just food. It's just food. So I think it starts with us doing the work, and you know, as parents, and also, you know, all parents
like
raising the next generation. And so that
Yeah.
comes just with, so there is.
Sorry.
No,
I guess for men and like, young boys and young girls even, but mostly kind of young boys, everything you've all mentioned, I'm going to just maybe throw into mine as well. Just the individuality and defining what it is to be yourself and to be a man and to be like a race or something you are. When it comes to surgeries, things like that, once again, we're all getting all these things done to ourselves. We're all working apparently on our bodies to look the same like everybody else. Never ourselves, never embracing like the unique thing that makes us a bit different and leaning into that a bit more. So I would encourage anybody, and I think with time as well, it's showing more uniqueness on TV, showing more individuality. I think if you, the most watched show amongst young people between 16 and 30 is probably that show, the Island show. I mean, I don't want to say it because I don't know. You never know, like ITV, but instead they get everyone tend to look the same, don't they? Dress the same, and it's like.
I think that's so damaging, that program.
Oh,
my God,
I think it is.
I just think that is appalling.
I think it is, and there's
that's the Kate Moss of their generation. You know, they're all fake, they're all thick, and just focus on their bodies. They've got mirrors all over their houses. That is the only focus, is what they look like. And if and it is the most popular show, and you're like.
But it's sad because young people watch that and think, oh, they look happy because on camera they look happy.
They've got all these followers.
But you can't see what's inside.
I can't.
Yeah.
I am so passionate about how terrible that is.
And this is why I challenge people just to also post what you want. Do you know what I mean?
Be careful what you absorb, really, is the message.
It's all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's selective, isn't it? Like I
Yeah.
always say, did you see the news? Yeah. What did you watch the news on? Because you're getting what the world wants you to see, rather than like we used to sit down and watch BBC News, didn't we? Well, they're getting random news, fake news, this news. It's really like what view of the world are you seeing?
Yeah.
So if you're watching The Island Show, that's
is
the
what
view
we
of
know, Lord.
that's the view of
happiness and beauty.
I am
Society.
so passionately
But we
anti
need
it.
you to be demonstrating to the younger ones
Yeah.
how to be. It's up to the snowy owls.
Well,
of the world.
respect. I'm so impressed you're snowy owl.
I see someone lurking in the corner, so I'm thinking we're running out of time roughly. Any other burning questions? Yeah.
From my experience, it's about knowing who you are and what you stand for. And I'd be really interested to hear from you as to how you would encourage someone or teach someone on how to know who they are and get to them.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? I was listening to a really funny podcast with Elizabeth Day. She does the How to Fail podcast. And she had, oh my God, I'm going to forget his name now. He's a comedian. But he was saying that he took a loan out on his authentic self.
Yeah.
And he then has only just paid it back, like to come back to himself. You know, he put stupid things in his hair and everything, and it just wasn't himself. And it really stuck with me, because we do that so often, don't we? It's about trying to remind ourselves who we actually are. Am I doing this because I actually like it? Or am I doing it because everyone else is doing it?
Yeah.
So this is how I like to view it. I see it as an unlearning process. Like all the stuff that we've learnt, like all these beliefs and stories about ourselves, like I am this way, or you know, from a young age, you know, our caretakers or people around us, they want to label us. You know, she is the smart one, or she is the selfish one, or she is this. And so for me, it starts with unlearning all that stuff. Like, so creating awareness around all those beliefs and all those stories. And then once we've unlearned all that stuff, because it's not part of who we are, or even like, well, I like to go through an exercise with my clients, like write down who you are. You know, a lot of them like, I am a mother, or I am a writer, or, you know, I'm a journalist, or whatever your job is. And it's going through the process of, you are none of these things, like who you are. And you know, we want to use language, but the feeling of who we are, like to me, you can't really use any language to express who you really are. And so for me, it's like a process of unlearning. And then once we've unlearned all that stuff, we've like created that awareness around it, then we can start to reconnect. And that's and it's that process of reconnecting and feeling our own body and feeling what is it that we need, we love, that nurtures us, that nurtures our heart, that nourishes us, and then moving from there. And for me, that's where you can start to really step into the person you're always meant to be. And I always say that it's not, you know, there's this quote that I love. It says like, maybe the process isn't so much about becoming anything, maybe it's about unbecoming.
That's nice.
What was it? You know, unbecoming what you were never meant to be. So yeah, I like to think of it as unlearning and then reconnecting, to be able to really feel into what nurtures you and what nourishes you.
I'm going to close it down, because otherwise we'll be here all night. I think we can talk about this for a long time. But I just wanted to finish with one more little thing, and then obviously you can catch up with anyone else on the panel. What if we're always trying to change who we are? We strive to be prettier, thinner, blonder, or better. We're always trying to fix and nip and suck and tuck. We're always living under the assumption that there's an ideal woman that we should emulate, a gold standard of beauty to attain. But what if our only goal was to simply look in the mirror and say, there is no one else I'd rather be. I've never met a woman better than me.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you all for coming. It's been really lovely. And yes, thank you very much.